Today's film is about how, in 2024, people decide to rebuild the Titanic from scratch. From that moment, terrifying and strange events begin to happen. We then briefly move back in time to the year 1912, during the sinking of the original ship, where a girl named Elizabeth escapes while screaming and tries to seek help from her fiancé Charles. Unfortunately, she cannot find him, and the captain throws her into a lifeboat in the water, attempting to save her. All the ropes holding the small boat break, causing it to flip over and trapping everyone inside. Elizabeth manages to climb onto the overturned boat, calling out for Charles. Shocked, she hears him respond from a nearby iceberg. Charles leaps into the water and swims toward her. As he gets close, Elizabeth realizes Charles is a zombie, not her fiancé. He drags her into the water, ending her life. This tragic event happened 110 years ago. Titanic is preparing for its maiden voyage, following the same route as the original. Newspapers and magazines announce the news, sparking excitement. A man arrives with his fiancée, amazed by the ship's size. He asks her to put away her phone and appreciate the sight. She sees him recording, becomes excited, and starts describing the view enthusiastically. As they step out of the car, a crowd gathers, showing how famous they are. They keep filming with their fans. Meanwhile, the ship's captain meets her team, including Brian, a former army soldier. She explains they have assembled a full team to ensure constant security and protect the area. Hector leads the security crew. The captain goes over important details for the voyage, wishing everyone an enjoyable trip and a great day ahead. Everyone returns to their tasks, and afterward, the captain commands the crew to begin moving the ship immediately. Passengers celebrate the start of their journey. Suddenly, a mysterious woman emerges from a bag among boxes, quietly walking across the ground floor to collect her belongings and leave. Two celebrities greet their followers, encouraging them to document the trip. The mysterious woman goes upstairs, steals a crew uniform, and puts it on. Julie McKenda announces herself over the loudspeaker, introduces herself to everyone, and says she is responsible for the whole organization. She says the ship was built with great precision, taking 10 years to complete. Many ancient parts in the ship were recovered from the old ship's wreckage. She assures everyone Captain Rose will lead them to the site of the incident so they can witness it themselves. Upon arrival, there will be a minute of silence for those who died there, and she wishes everyone an enjoyable visit. She concludes her announcement and takes the mysterious woman to the museum, where the woman approaches and tries to steal an artifact. A man enters and argues with her, demanding she give up the violin. He says it is very valuable, explaining it stayed underwater nearly 100 years. At that moment, Jolie arrives and calmly intervenes to stop the man and ease the situation. By chance, the girl sees a hairpin among the items and tells him her grandmother had the exact same one. She gets upset about what they did and says they should have let it rest with its owners, as the pharaohs did in the past. She warns them they will suffer a great curse for what they have done. The man grows more annoyed and asks Julie who she is, but even Julie does not recognize her and tries to figure out who she is and which department she works in. The girl takes the chance to distract them, steals the hairpin, and escapes. Meanwhile, the celebrities keep filming but bump into the gallery man. He angrily complains about his troubles. Then, she enters the scene quietly. The girl tries to calm him, which he finds attractive, and starts flirting with her. Her fiancé grows jealous and pulls her away. The mysterious girl returns to the ground floor. Meanwhile, the two walk around the ship, taking many photos. Prime sees them and asks them to leave. Jackson explains they are lost and don't know where to go. The exhibition man speaks with a stranger among the passengers and shows him the ring he's wearing, saying it belongs to a very famous person named Edward Smith. The man becomes very interested and tries to buy the ring, but the expert refuses and tells him he has many items worth seeing. The man is convinced and goes with him. On the ground floor, the girl starts unusual rituals and takes out a photo of Captain Edward Smith, whom the expert mentioned, from her bag. She starts summoning spirits to the location. Soon, a large party begins in the ship's hall. Rose prepares, dresses up, and speaks at the event. A video with her fiancé, Jackson and Maya continue their mission, discovering many locations on the ship. They enter a strange room and, by chance, see the girl performing her rituals. Shocked, they witness her cutting her hand and using her blood. Worried, they decide to leave, but are startled when someone named Nancy approaches from behind, telling them she's a fan and was watching their live stream, and came to see what's happening in person. The girl is unaware she's being filmed. Suddenly, the whole ship shakes violently, and even the camera falls. Jackson and Maya decide to leave the area quickly, with Nancy following. Rose gets concerned when she notices something is wrong, and the connection drops for no reason. Maya, Jackson, and Nancy walk alone in a corridor, and Nancy tells them she's been following them for a long time. After learning about their trip, she insisted on booking a ticket to join them. Jackson bumps into another expert and says he taunts him again, just like the first time. It's clear he's impressed by Maya, but she does not treat him well. She puts him in his place and tells him to stay away to avoid trouble. Still, the expert insists on his unusual approach and tries to get closer until things escalate, and Jackson attacks him. Before the party starts, Julia says they've reached the accident site and asks everyone to observe a moment of silence while the girl continues her rituals. When the minute ends, Julia thanks everyone and announces the party has started, wishing them a great time. After finishing the rituals, Edward Smith, her great-grandfather, appears before her. Jackson goes out with Maya to record another video. They are surprised to hear strange music and see a violinist behind them, but can't recall his face. Enjoying the melody, they dance briefly. Suddenly, the ship's electricity goes out, then returns. The whole crew starts hearing a strange and frightening sound. Maya hears a strange, unsettling sound, screams loudly, and begs Jackson for help, but he cannot hear or understand her feelings. Suddenly, a ghost pulls her through the thick fog before disappearing completely. The sound then stops, and everything returns to normal. The captain's assistant decides to inspect the ship thoroughly to ensure all is well. Maya wakes up and searches for Jackson, trying to contact him. The expert appears, calms her, and convinces her to go inside. She remembers her phone, asks him to go ahead while she retrieves it, and then follows, attempting to recall what happened. Suddenly, the ghost appears again and takes her too. Meanwhile, the assistant detects a strange object on the radar and tries to reach Rose, but she does not respond. He asks his colleague to cover for him until he can speak with her himself. Meanwhile, one of the passengers stands with the expert, who shows her the lifeboat found with the wreckage. He brings out a very expensive necklace and persuades her to buy it. Two security guards notice water spilled on the floor and are shocked to discover that she is dead. Parker shows up at Rose's location and tells her there's a problem that needs her attention, and she must come with him right away. Rose observes something happening with their equipment and devices. None of them can figure out the cause. She asks everyone to shut down and restart the entire system. Brian approaches and tells Rose to follow him, leading her to where Maya's body is found. Rose, worried about her fiancé, asks to see all recent uploaded videos to discover what happened. Hector arrives and commands the guards to remove all cameras. Rose then asks them to contact the last person Maya spoke to before her death. Meanwhile, an engineer attempts to fix the malfunctions. He suddenly hears a strange noise and sees terrifying figures coming toward him. He tries to escape by any means, but the ghost stands in his way. He calmly detaches his head from his body. Hector and Brian monitor all the camera feeds closely. Rose arrives to check their progress and successfully hacks her phone. Together, they watch the last video she recorded with her fiancé. They are shocked when Jackson suddenly vanishes without a trace. They notice the expert was the last person to see Maya. As he leaves, she grabs her phone, terrified. They decide to question the expert and further investigate his connection. The expert then stops to talk with Julie, inviting her to dance. Brian interrupts and asks the expert to come with them as he is needed for questioning. They confront him repeatedly about Jackson and explain that he is missing and Maya was found dead. The expert admits to being tense and sometimes reacting poorly, but insists he never intended to harm anyone. The girl continues the ritual, determined to complete everything as planned. The ship's engine starts to move. Alone, Rose is shocked when she sees the ship moving before finishing the investigation with the expert, so she must leave to understand what's happening. After she leaves, the expert is pressured and threatened to reveal the truth. Following a long argument, they agree to release him and keep him away from the matter. In exchange, he will receive a share from every sale and earn a large amount at the end of the journey. He pushes hard to increase his share and succeeds. Rose tries to contact Parker, but the connection is completely lost. When she reaches the center, she finds the situation unclear and learns they cannot control the ship's system. Parker tells her the ship is heading in a different direction and he cannot stop it. Rose becomes very angry, ordering them to act quickly and return to their proper course. She stands alone for a moment until Prime arrives and takes her with him. Afterwards, Julie leaves with an elderly woman named Shutra. The same woman who bought the contract sees the ghost of the contract owner when she is alone. The ghost attacks her. Rose is shocked when she finds the engineer's body and is determined to do whatever it takes to stop the ship's engine. She is confused whether to trust the computer, as someone else seems to be controlling it. Brian feels they are in danger and tries to convince her to leave quickly, but she refuses and insists on trying again. Before the room explodes with them inside, Brian takes her out. Brian escapes just in time. The explosion impacts the entire ship, causing party guests to panic and ask what is going on. Rose quickly regains consciousness and rushes to warn everyone. The crew is confused, unable to understand the situation. Some suspect they struck an iceberg. Rose insists it's much worse. An engine has completely failed. She begins to learn the ship's movements by observing and listening to the crew. Danger increases with steps. They are struggling to find solutions to reduce possible problems. They order the crew to try again, hoping for some change. Hector reaches the engine room, where a ghost suddenly appears. Rose informs passengers about an engine explosion and failure. She urges everyone to stay calm to resolve the issue quickly and tells them to return to their rooms until the situation stabilizes. Communication with the Coast Guard is very difficult. Rose tries to inform them of what happened and requests help as soon as possible. She explains to her team that the nearest ship is about 2 hours away. She gives some instructions and leaves. Meanwhile, the expert remains trapped in the room, noticing water flooding from the ceiling and the lights flickering on and off as he hears a terrifying loud sound. When the noise subsides, the ghost appears, scaring him, and he steps back. He tricks the ghost not to harm him, ties the creature to the bed, and starts breathing heavily in its face. Nancy tries to speak with any official, but is very afraid. Rose agrees to listen and tells them that the one who killed Maya must be a ghost. She shows them the video she has, but no one believes her. Rose feels exhausted and asks Nancy to rest a little. Panic spreads among the passengers. Each goes to their room. When one checks on the expert, he is found lying on the floor, looking strange and shocked. The expert struggles to be left alone. After regaining consciousness, he asks to speak with Rose and recounts everything. He accuses her of trapping him there and threatens to sue and take revenge when he returns. Suddenly, a guard reports Hector is missing. Rose tells Prime to escort the expert to his room. She starts searching for Hector and grows worried. Meanwhile, the expert unexpectedly spots the strange girl, instantly recognizes her, and suspects she is responsible for everything that has happened. The girl tells them she is. She is not connected to the incident and knows what really happened, but no one believes her. She blames the expert for taking items from the deceased and trying to sell them without conscience. Ever since her grandfather died on the ship long ago, she has been hearing strange voices. As time passed, the voices diminished, but sadly, they reappeared with hallucinations when the expert began selling her grandfather's items and those belonging to the deceased. She firmly claims the ship is cursed and all aboard are doomed. She warns it is now too late for anyone to intervene. When the expert and the guard reach his room, he sees the ghost, panics, and quickly hides. Unfortunately, the guard mistakes it for a normal person and tries to speak, but is killed by it. The expert flees, screaming in disbelief. Prime talks to the girl alone, trying to understand. Suddenly, the door shuts, trapping them both inside. Edward appears before Brian And when Brian is shot, the bullet hits Edward instead, killing him instantly. The ship's power cuts out again. Rose uses a flashlight to look ahead and suddenly spots the ghost. She screams, urging everyone to look at the wall, but it remains empty. She thinks she imagined it and tells everyone to continue working. Edward then transfers some of his power to Hafiz, while Brian watches, shocked by everything happening. The girl approaches him and makes him fall. She leaves as the expert escapes, enters a room, locks himself in, and decides to destroy evidence. He tries to stay calm. In the bathroom, he's shocked when Maya's ghost appears. He regains consciousness, finds his friend alive, quickly exits, and calls for help. His friend appears in the corridor, but the ghost attacks and kills him. Meanwhile, the girl reaches the roof and uses the power she has. Parker throws the bar far away and tries to stop her by any means. But as soon as she touches it, she sees the ghost of her grandfather. Something strange happens to her. She becomes very weak, falls to the ground, then takes control of the entire ship's system and heads the ship towards the iceberg. Rose tries to persuade her to stop, telling her that killing everyone won't bring her grandfather back and that revenge is meaningless. But none of this affects her at all. Rose explains that if the ship is destroyed, she will die with them. The girl laughs and says she knows this well. She then grabs a knife, wounds herself, and crashes the ship into the mountain. The passengers are shocked by what happened and start considering any solution to their disaster. Suddenly, the expert enters and says he knows the solution. They must return all the relics they have to the exact depths of the ocean. Rose thinks this idea is stupid and pointless. She asks him to leave, because she is not in the mood for jokes at all. The ship starts to sink, and each passenger tries to save themselves. Brian takes the opportunity to steal some artifacts. Before he escapes, a water ghost appears and kills him. Rose tries to save as many passengers as she can and asks the expert for help. She sees Julie and Brian in the hall, with Brian now a ghost who kills her as she approaches. The expert helps many people onto a lifeboat, but just before it lowers, the ropes break and the boat falls into the water with everyone inside. Rose stays on the ship until it sinks, then falls asleep. The expert is alone in a small boat, terrified by strange sounds in the water. Rose appears alive and saves herself. He helps her onto the boat. Surprised, all those people died, while he, who deserved death, survived. Still alive after all that, Rose calms down and says, "He saved many lives today, which might fully justify everything that happened." She is surprised by his silence and no response. When she looks at him, she is shocked to see he is already dead. After a moment, he turns into a ghost and finishes her off. Here our film ends today. Stay tuned for more videos. Goodbye.